All right, we want to take a look at this sheet and look at some basic formatting. As we come in here, we can see the name of the people, the students, and you can see the column, their names are sort of hidden here. So that's a bit of a problem, and this whole top looks like a mess, and the names aren't even in order. So we just want to fix a few things. So first, you can control the width of your columns by simply going up in the middle of them and grabbing and dragging like that. So maybe I want to come here and I just want to grab and drag it over until I get their names. And there's Elizabeth. This quiz on permutations, that's really awful. Now, another option I have is I could click here in cell E, in column E, and if I go to Format, I can say, hey, column width. I can tell it what to do, or I can go to Autofit column width, and I just click, and there it all is. It fixes each one. So maybe I just want to click all of these columns and just say Format, Autofit, so that they're all sort of in there. And it doesn't really look that pretty, so probably want to fix that. Well, let's look at a few things that we can do. At least we can see everyone's name and their scores. But I sort of don't like this. Data is all to the right in the column, and this is all to the right, and it just doesn't look good. Well, there's a couple of options we could do. Some people say, hey, let's take everything, highlight all of them, and let's go ahead and put it in the center. Now, we can simply go right here's how, and you should be used to this with Word or whatever you write papers in. I just want to center it. So boom, I just center them all, or maybe I want all the data, if I'm doing with a large data set, people like them usually to the left, but I sort of like it there in the center so that everything's centered. That looks a little bit prettier to me. Now, the other thing I notice, I'm like, these names, they're not in alphabetical order. I want to put those in order. So I want to sort those. So what I can do is I can highlight these names, and I go to Data, because it's Data, and I want to sort it. Now, if I click A to Z, it's going to put all these in order, alphabetical order. But what about the scores? They're not going to go. And it should give me a warning if I do this. It's going to say, wait, do you want to expand the selection? Well, here's what we should have done. We should have said, hey, I want to sort these, but I want to take these scores with them. So now when I go to my data and sort, if I just click it, it's going to go ahead, and it took all the scores right there with them. Now, another thing we might say is we might say, hey, I want to make this sort of outlined. So you can highlight the whole thing, and then if we just come back to our home, right here we can see this underlines it. But what I want to do is I want to put all borders. So now it looks a lot better to me. I can sort of see things. I can follow each row and each column down, and it just blocks it off in a little bit of a nicer manner. And you have quite a few options right in here. Now you have your typical font size, things of that nature, make things bold. But let's say that all of a sudden I decide, wow, everybody failed this permutations. Now I could come in here and hit delete, 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 and just backspace. I don't want to do that. I want to clear that whole thing out. So if I just click the column, or if I just highlight what I want to get rid of, I can simply delete and delete the cells. Or I could have delete the sheet columns. That'll take everything out. Now if you delete cells, it's going to say, hey, do you now want to take all data, if you have data here to the right, and shift everything over left, or do you want to shift it up? Let's just say we shift it up. Again, wouldn't matter because there wasn't any data below it or whatever. If I want to remove the whole thing, I could have just hit delete the entire sheet column, so everything down below. So I've now gotten rid of that column E, so I don't have anything there. This gives you just a little touch of what you need to do in formatting.